Welcome to Elevate the Game, where DFW's top leaders drop gems on success, strategy, and legacy with your hosts, George Abreu and Eric Badiwala. Let's get into it.
Today, we welcome Claudio Saes, a partner at Nokia Bell Labs Consulting with over 25 years of experience advising telecom and enterprise leaders on AI infrastructure and connectivity strategy. He helps organizations design monetizable, execution-ready solutions around data, cloud, and network investments. Thank you for joining us today, Claudio.
Thank you for having me, Jorge. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
If you can give us a quick snapshot of your business and what it is that you do and kind of what led you down that path.
Yes, perfect. So I was born originally in Brazil, and I moved to the DFW area a few years back, around 8 years or so. Well, I was still in engineering college when I started my career in a company that represented AT&T in Brazil. And I did many things in life. I did from, climbing towers to other stuff, around. And proposal submissions and helping into executive meetings, participating into executive meetings. 10 years ago, I was invited to this small boutique consulting shop inside a larger company. It was on the corporate side of that. The company is Nokia. You probably remember Nokia from the old days of the.
I do. I had a couple of Nokias myself.
Yes, yeah. Right? Everyone, even my daughter, she's 20-something years old, and she remembered that, without having lived in that. So into this boutique consulting, what we do, we help our clients to make optimal technology decisions. The way we do that is through rigorous techno-economic modeling analysis and implementable roadmaps. Basically, that's the work that we do. Usually, those are technology companies. In my specific area and practice, I'm dedicated to telecom companies most of my time, and companies like T-Mobile, AT&T, and I'm responsible for the Americas region, meaning I go from Canada down to Buenos Aires. Kind of the area that I have to work on. And because of this work that we do on helping our customers, one of the challenges we have, I think one of the things we do well is actually getting the technical requirements, whatever they are, and connecting that to the business imperatives the company would have. Okay, so that's something that is quite interesting. I love doing that. And the reason for that is that you need to communicate clearly, results, consequences to executives. Most of the time, those are CTOs, CIOs, but sometimes you need to bring strategy officers, CEOs, and that is the part I really enjoy on that profession.
Nice. So I take it, obviously in the tech space, there's a lot of competition. I take it in this isn't necessarily. Would you consider this the tech space, or?
Yeah, it's mostly on the connectivity space, but there are some overlaps. You see,
got it.
Because these companies, it's a very tough market. Connectivity, the way we know today, we use connectivity for everything, basically, right?
Right.
So we're having this podcast through connectivity. It's made possible by that, and the problem with that is that it's a very eroded industry. And because it is eroded, then everyone is trying to extract value. How can you find new value and tap into that almost like utility kind of business? So that's the tough part of that. And today, because of all these, cloud compute and AI explosion, these companies naturally they are looking into that, or to use and then increase productivity or lower their costs, or to monetize on top of that. Make sense?
Makes sense. So how do you, in this space, stand out? What do you guys do differently that makes these companies want to transact with you?
Yeah. Well, there are a couple of things that set us apart. Again, we are small. Boutique consulting, they are pretty small. So the way we work, we have some subject matter experts, have people sitting in several places. I can get one person in Mexico, another one in US, another one in India, and we're flying down to Chile to solve a client's problem. What set us apart is the level of depth we can go. So when dealing with the technical teams, especially when you are transforming some sort of, like I said, embracing AI in order to lower your operational costs, for example. This is where we can talk to the actual doers into the organization. And telecom companies, usually they are very hierarchical. You have many teams, and under these teams, more teams. So it's a bunch of people required in order to make these things work. Mm-hmm. And our subject matter experts, they need to talk, and we work along, shoulder to shoulder with these customers. And when we do that, we need to choose some options. Naturally, if you're going to transform, you may look at path A, B, or C, and there are consequences, as I said. Sometimes path A is the best possible option, but it's too expensive. Sometimes the second path is something in the middle, but you have some operational issues that you cannot fully realize the benefits of that if you don't fix those issues. Sometimes it's organizational issues, whatever it is. And then path 3 or 4 or 5. So what we do, we work hand in hand with these customers in order to choose the most optimal path that they can, it can be cost associated, it can be because of organization or structure or whatever it is. Usually is about budget saving, operational costs, OPEX savings, or sometimes trying to get to a new business and get a little bit more revenue top line into the company. So because we have these, interactions and we create some intimacy and I would say, credibility in the work that we do jointly with these customers, we are able to get to what actually would work. And from there, it's about convincing or communicating that to the rest of the organization, right? The C-level, the C-suite. And translating that into the business requirements is, I think, two things. Going deep technically and translating that into the business requirements, those are the two things I believe we do reasonably well for that specific industry.
Interesting. Sounds very difficult to get some of these larger companies to communicate all that, and then
it's something different. And one of the things that comes easy personally for me is reading an executive's stance in front of an issue. Sometimes, as I said, you need to change the organization, and that's the part that most of the people don't want to touch many times. So the technical part is the most laborious, but once you do a good job, it's easy to justify. Right. The organization individual is way harder. But there are many reasons for that, from our brain's physiology, to personality types, to temperament types. So you need to understand a little bit that and the politics, ambitions of executives that you're working for, and in order to do that. So it's somehow sometimes very challenging to do so.
So if someone's listening right now and they're looking to grow in their career, what's maybe one thing that you can suggest to them that they should focus on as they attempt to do that?
Very good question. So there are two things I would recommend. First thing, I think for the past 3 years, we have been flooded by this idea about AI everywhere. AI has been around for several decades, since the 50s, 40s, end of 40s to 50s. Yeah. And it became cheaper to use it after we had this cloud compute and all this cloud explosion that happened a few decades ago, about, I would say 12, 15 years ago. It became cheaper to use cloud. And now AI 3 years ago started to go really mainstream. Mm-hmm. The beauty of this is that if you're not a person who knows how to code or write an algorithm or whatever it is, you can still use this because it's natural language that you can use. So I would say the first thing is use these tools, experiment, study them. There are so many tools around into the market. If you get Google has like a huge quantity of tools. Some of these tools they don't announce even. I was looking at one of these things 2 or 3 weeks ago. They launched a new product, and they don't announce many of these things. So get curious about this. If you are depending on the area you are at, if you're a lawyer, if you are a creative, if you're in marketing, if you are into research, whatever you are, white collar job or non-white collar, experiment with this. Go to cloud, watch YouTube videos. There's a lot of good information, free information available. And you can use many of these tools free, and if you want to go to the next level, then it's around $20 per month, and you will choose once you get fluent and you want to do more complex tasks, do it, because I think that's the very, very first step. I think you need to understand to what extent these things can help you in what you do. And also that will help you to have the real feeling about, okay, can this really help me out or not? So that's the very first thing I would say. Try, but use these tools. Oh, I don't know how to use them. Most of the people I know, they use it like Google. Okay, they will ask something, things like, what is the capital of Chile, right? What is this? What is the population here and there? That's not the right way of doing that. So there are a couple of resources. And again, YouTube is a wonderful resource for that. So you can look at these and you can have free access basically to the basics of that. And even to certain more intermediate and advanced things that you can do with these tools. So that's number one. If you have to ask me what tool I would recommend people using the most, there is a tool from Google called, I know by any means, I have any ties to Google. It's just that they have been releasing a couple of good ones. And one of the tools I've been using for nearly 2 years, it's called Notebook LM. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Say it again. It's Notebook.
Notebook LM.
Oh, no. I haven't heard of that.
It's a great tool for studying subjects. Okay. So if you have a research paper, if you have, instructions for something, like a new product that you buy that, it's this big, instructions. If you upload the PDF there, you can interact with that and you can ask questions to that document. Basically, that's it. Oh, from a simple summary to help you visualize that. And it creates videos for you, audio like a podcast, and you can even, it's crazy thing, you can even interact with the podcast. Like, it's me and you, and then someone else, that can interact with the two of us, the digital us into a podcast. Crazy. It's crazy. So that's why I say I'm very much, I would say, enchanted by the technology. There are limitations, as everything in life. It has a lot of things which are, I probably heard this expression, right? They are incorrect. You search for something, doesn't provide you the correct answer. Sometimes it's called hallucination, right? When they try to generate something they don't know, the models don't know, so they hallucinate and create that. So that's why you need to try and see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So that's the first thing. Second thing, improve your personal skills. So most people I know, especially in the technology area, big tech to telecom, they are very good with the math, the STEM part of the house, but not so good with the people skill part of it. So So I would highly suggest to go through, some important resources. I would say if you want to improve your, self-awareness, understanding how brain works, understanding, situational awareness. This is super important. So look for, look for these resources. There are many things. Knowledge today became more and more of a commodity. And with these AI tools now, you can search practically anything, nearly for free. So look into these things, and I think anything related to interpersonal skills, people skills, it's really something that will differentiate you from the rest.
Yeah, I think that last one, I mean, I agreed with all of them, but the last one, I just feel like, especially the newer generations, are definitely lacking some
Yeah,
people skills.
true. It's a different generation. I quite don't get it either. I have a colleague of mine back in Brazil. He does this work. It's amazing work on generational management. There are certain countries, Brazil is one of them. You have a younger, working generation. US too, obviously, but it's very difficult to if you get a telecom company, for example, or even a company like Nokia, and having the newer generation to come. First being they are not so attractive. It's not so attractive. These companies, let's be honest, right? They are not as attractive as if you're going to work for OpenAI or for Google, some of these companies. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that culturally, and even in the realms of communication, is a complete different game for them, right? And I think this is something that will show up more in the next few years to come. I think in the next decade we will see more this gap in between generations. So a mid-level manager today probably will have a lot of difficulties to interact with, a generation, alpha, for example.
Yeah.
And not even sure if a generation alpha, typical generation alpha, would like to work in such a hierarchical kind of environment too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So kind of changing things up here a little bit, what's maybe one of the biggest challenges you've had throughout the years, and how were you able to overcome that?
Okay, I will tell you an interesting one. So, well, in more than 10 years doing consulting, I was fortunate enough to have great customers. Even the most, raging ones, if you understand their personalities and you can adjust the communication to that, you can, move along. But I remember this client 4 years ago. He's a COO in a company. It's a very large company, present in several countries across the Americas region. And they hired us and he was one of the people that actually, signed it for that. They hired us to do a cloud strategy project for them. And well, as a best practice in the first interviews, especially with this level, C level, you come with 3, 4, 5 open-ended questions because you want to understand their ambitions, you want to understand the issues, and they will talk. You keep them open and they will talk. Their likes and dislikes. And well, this specific person, this executive, he is very straight to the point. He doesn't like, he's very Cartesian kind of person. And he's focusing to numbers and results. And the meeting, which was set for 45 minutes, he left in 15, probably with the idea he hired the wrong professionals to do that, to solve that. Well, it took some time into that project. Projects normally they run around 3 to 4 months. We needed to understand his personality type, adjust our deliverables and our communication, and he worked like a charm. He's a very demanding person, but he's super smart. I learn every time I have an interaction with him. I learn so much because of that.
Nice. Um, so we've talked a lot about the business and your active income. So I also like asking this question where, is there anything that you're doing outside of your active income? Do you have any investments, whether it's stock, real estate,
Yeah.
whatever it is, that's creating, whether it's for retirement or just several streams of income? Do you have any
Yeah.
suggestions there?
Well, I'm fortunate on that area as well. But first thing, everyone should have a plan. My personal strategy, my passive strategy is personal investments, like you said, stocks, ITFs, and a few funds. I'm very lucky to be, married to my personal CFO, thankfully. So she
Nice,
does an
nice.
amazing job on that, because I travel a lot. I have to be customers,
I
across.
was going to ask you that when you said the Americas. I was wondering.
Yeah, it's hard. You have to get a flight and go to São Paulo. It's around 9 hours. If you go to Chile, it's another 8 hours, 7 hours, and so it's tough. But I'm very thankful that we can share the load, on that certain things, and that's her area. So she came from that financial background, and she does an amazing job to that. But basically, it's a passive investment today. I do have future plans. I'm passionate about this human side of business, and I have it's something that fascinates me, and I have this plan, in a not so long future, probably mid to long term, to put up something myself into that.
Nice, nice. Well, you might have stolen my next question, but maybe you got something else. So, as we're wrapping up our interview here, I always like asking if you've got any exciting plans or initiatives coming up in the
Yeah,
next 6 to 12
yeah,
months.
that is one. This is one,
Yeah.
and I think back to the thing about AI. I think technology is going through this foundational shift. So I don't know how old are you, Jorge? Probably
44
Mhm.
as we're recording
Mhm.
this. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So I'm 55, so more or less close. But
Yeah.
um, we've seen a lot of changes in our time. Hmm? You probably remember the time before cell phones,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Then the pager and then the cell
Page
phone.
and then cell phone and then internet and everything else. And
Yeah.
today, if you get, we don't know how it is to live without these things anymore. You go to a restaurant, people are, just buried in front of these things. Sometimes they are talking, couples I see, sometimes they are chatting, using this one
Yeah.
face to face in front of the other. But it is disruptive. And even the usage, there are many of these studies on the harms that generative AI can bring to people. Like I read something, I think it was this week about, or this or the last week, talking about how shallow the reasoning, and cognitive abilities are becoming because of in schools, especially in college, because of ChatGPT like tools. Well, we cannot change that, and I think this is the future. We are talking at the end of last year, beginning of this year, a lot about these agentic AIs, which are basically programs that will do several things for you.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, if we do an analogy, if you if you go back 20 years in time, or hasn't that, maybe 12 years ago, and you try to get a cab in New York City, okay, at this time, 4 o'clock, 4:30, it was really difficult, if not impossible. And then Uber came and solved for that problem. So it can
Yep.
be nearly anywhere into a big city, and you can order an Uber, and you can go from point A to point B. Same thing with other things like food delivery, or groceries, or buying stuff. So we will see the same effect with personal agents, in my opinion. This will make more time available for us humans. And then the next thing that will come is what we call into the, in these industries, the physical AI. We are starting to see. You have Roomba in your home today, and then imagine that you can buy or rent a robot that will do all the chores at your home, things like carrying groceries, walking the dog, cooking entire meals. I'm a firm believer we'll see enormous amount of change in the next 10 to 20 years. And things that we probably are not even prepared to. And these things, again, in my opinion, I think people are concerned in general with being employed, and with all these, large companies. You saw recently Oracle firing 30,000 people and so on, and others too. But the point is that, back to the point I made earlier on, if you're good into understanding what are the boundaries of this technology and what it can do for you, and if you are a person that really, you don't need to master, but at least you have some interpersonal skills and you understand the basics, I think that's where, you can add value, and I think because of these changes, I think this will be very interesting and fascinating to follow in the next decade or so.
Yeah, it's really something. I mean, I think you have to kind of lean into things like this, and some people, oh, I don't know how to use it, or I don't understand it, and it's, well, you need to, right? Like you were saying, like, it's, go on YouTube. I mean, there's so much free information out there, so much knowledge. I just created an AI agent 2 weekends ago on OpenClaw.
Oh, great.
And I mean, it's looking up clients, sending them emails, and doing all this kind of stuff, and while I sleep, right? I mean, that's not perfect by any means, but I think you got to lean into those things for sure.
You have to understand them, and again, you're so right. You're spot on. It doesn't work perfect, and that's the time, because these things are going to evolve and they will become better and better.
Yep.
I think this is the right time for you to understand what works, what doesn't work, and leverage that. No matter your profession, if you are, working for yourself, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you have a company, or if you work for a company, I think this is how you should be trying to stand out of the crowd.
Yeah. And I think the scary part is the workforce, like you mentioned. I mean, it's only going to keep getting better, and then what happens with the employees, right?
Yeah. And there are serious discussion going on that, because I'll go into a more deep discussion on this. There are many economists which are raising this thing. So if you start to getting better at AI and using more AI than humans, then you're going to create a huge economic problem.
Yeah.
People will be unemployed. They will not be going to restaurants. They will not, paying their mortgages, and it's everything interconnected at the end of the day.
Yep.
So, and also, if you put that on top, that I think the last time I read this, I'm not sure about the number, but it was around 60. I can't remember, 60 or 70% of Americans believe that AI should be regulated. So that's the other point, because most people are scared about this thing. Everything that is new, that's uncomfortable, people get scared of naturally.
Yeah. I get scared of regulation. So depends what the regulation is.
Yes, but the average person actually thinks that, okay, if the government can regulate this thing, maybe it won't go too fast, or can be self-contained. But I think, in my personal opinion, if you ask me, I think the train has left the station already. These companies, they are doing a huge amount of transformation and bringing these products, which are, it's very difficult to go back, I think.
Yeah.
So you need to
adapt. Happening fast too.
Yeah, and fast too. Yeah. Before it was a few years.
Yeah.
So you had like 1 year, 2 years for something really out of the box thing. And now it seems like, look at these videos that are generated by these things.
Insane.
They're getting insane. They're getting better by the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I just saw one, I think the other day, and it was, some actors and not them, right?
Mhm.
But the video looked perfect.
It is. It is. It is scary actually because you cannot believe your eyes anymore. Mm.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is the scary part actually.
Agreed. Agreed. I think we're gonna leave it there and leave everybody scared. No, I'm just kidding.
No, 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 no,
No.
no. I think
No.
humans, humanity always prevails at the
Yeah.
end. If you look
Yeah.
at, 1,000 years ago, 2,000, 10,000 years ago, humanity always prevails. And that's the beauty of that. Things like OpenClaw you mentioned was invented by a, bright mind, someone who had an idea and decided to share with the world,
Right.
right? And we'll see more and more of these things. So I
Yep.
think humans are, still have chance. That's not Terminator kind of future.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. Claudio, thank you so much for your time today and sharing
Thank you.
so much of the insights. If people want to connect with you, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
Best way to connect with me is through LinkedIn. I'm very active in LinkedIn. And I don't know if you guys put this information into.
We'll put it in the notes for sure. Yep.
Cool. And that's the best place. You can DM from there, and I'm always putting new things about technology into that channel. So it will be a
Perfect.
pleasure.
Awesome. We'll check it out then. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Elevate the Game. If you're a mover and shaker in DFW with game to share, apply to be a guest at elevatethegamepodcast.com/guest.